devout human beings, that you care for your neighbor. I told my neighbor that, I'll be going for a little while, I won't be here. And she was in distress. She said, where are you going to go? I said, you remember when I first moved, you thought I was Osama bin Laden? She said, oh, that was just a perception I had. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ مُحْسِنُونَ. That Allah is one with the ones who have taqwa. مَعَ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا, meaning He is with the people of taqwa. And He is with the people of muhsinun, people of ihsan, people who do good to others. Not just talking Islam. Talking Islam is very easy, but doing good and having love and having actually adoration for one another, it's wonderful. It's really wonderful, and this is how you need to change. Now, taqwa itself, for most of you that were here, we discussed it. We said it comes from the word wiqaya, yaqi, meaning to shield, to preserve. All those names that came with it. And I told you that something you just say, fear of Allah, fear of Allah. This is incorrect. It has one component of fear, which is not a negative fear. It is actually positivity, that actually you bring yourself to do the right thing. So you need to have taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you need to have this defense for the kufr that's actually bombarding you. Now, brothers and sisters, let us look at our condition. You and I, as a youth group, and the mothers and fathers and the older brothers and sisters need to actually listen to that. First and foremost, smoking. Over 400 chemicals in one cigarette. One drop of nicotine on your tongue will kill you. One pure drop will kill you. And that's how serious it is. Short-term health effects, you have respiratory problems. They had a cardiac center, and they had, by the cardiac center, they used to actually have a lot of smoking around the buildings. When they cut the smoking out, the heart rate, and they did the study for 2 years, dropped 40%. 40%. Heart attack problems dropped 40%. As soon as they had legislation to open that again, it went straight back up to the level it was. So not only smoking is injurious, but the secondhand smoke is just as bad as smoking itself. And sometimes they even say it's even worse. So you're getting both ends of the treatment. It is actually a risk for other drug use. As soon as you put that in front of your mouth, it's just not the cigarette itself. It's the concept, you see? The concept. One of the brothers was saying, oh, the Chinese. Said the Chinese, if they come over, there'll be nobody left. I said, what a statement is that, brother? Oh, there's so many of them, brother. I said, don't worry. He said, oh, okay, how about this? If they come over, no white people will be left. I said, you don't understand. It is the ideology. When they come over, usually Chinese, when they do kung fu and the old ones, they're very, very fit. They eat good food. They're very strong. A little guy like this wipe half the room here. Believe me, and they can do it. I've seen it with my eyes. But now what's happened when they come over here, they're eating the same McDonald's, eating the same processed food. Everything is processed. I asked one of the brothers in Hajj, I said, Akhi, what are you eating? What is this? All processed food. Muzdalifah, all processed. Everything was processed. I told the brothers, look, read the ingredients. Processed, processed. Everything was processed food. So this is the problem that is coming to. Now, where was I? You guys are sleeping. Where was I?
About Chinese.
Chinese, that's right. I forgot myself. So the problem is coming back to the realization that it's not the Chinese that will take over, or this one or that one. It is the system. So when the Chinese even come to the system, they're playing the Xbox. They're not going for math competitions. They're doing the same thing. They're eating processed stuff. So you got big Chinese now. Same Chinese looking, but they have that ideology. So once you put the cigarette to your mouth, it is the character building effect. So from this cigarette, from all the chemicals, actually what goes into your system, it's laced with tar and nicotine. And laced with so many things. The road that you drive on, paint thinner, arsenic, rat poison, formaldehyde, you name it, it's in there. So when this gets laced with small little fibers, you go, oh cool man, that's why you end up coughing for the first few times when you do it. And it goes into your system and gets embedded into your lungs. One of the guys just recently, he used to have always a lung x-ray. And they say mostly within 20 years, it should kill you. You're lucky if it goes beyond that. So he used to keep taking x-rays, and he said, oh, you're fine, sir, you're fine. He said, next week I went there, I had lung cancer, and he said it's terminal. Why? Because it embeds itself into the system. So the flavor goes through your system, so the patch will not work. The only thing that was allowed into Iraq, may Allah save it, is Philip Morris's cigarette packages. Toilet paper wasn't allowed, tin foil wasn't allowed, pencils weren't allowed, dual purpose. What are you going to do? Jab somebody to death with a pencil? So none of these things could be used for military means. Tin foil, what are you going to do? Cause a fire? I'm going to get you? What a ridiculous thing. So those things weren't allowed, but Philip Morris was going straight by. And they can spend their billions of dollars because they've made trillions. So there's no problem for them. Lawsuits, they just jam it in courts, and they make another few trillion on top of interest, and they'll keep going. So what the Muslims have to do is totally boycott and help the actually groups that are doing it, so you help your own teenagers. Why? And also the other adults, because when they see the kuffar saying smoking is not cool, then they'll say, okay, smoking is not cool. Because it comes from uncle and auntie, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. So smoking is a big, big, major problem. Teens who smoke lightly, smoke even on a light basis, 2 or 3 a day or something, they're most likely to see doctors for emotional and psychological distress. And that's what's happened. And because it changes, it alters the whole human system. So many chemicals. Have you imagined that? Muslims running for the fire? So what you need to do now, take this information and go and tell somebody who's smoking. One brother stopped smoking. I gave him everything. I used everything in the book. I used nicotine, you know, brother, there's the picture of a dead body in formaldehyde, that's what they put in the tar. He wasn't getting anything, and I told him one day, I said, you know what, you're working in this big job here, you're making good money, and you have a daughter, and she's going to say, well, my dad died because he wouldn't stop smoking. And he quit after that. I didn't know. I was coming with more materials the next day. He said, I've quit for the last 6 months. I said, oh, so great, mashallah. So we have to actually see where we can, and how smoking affects is that actually from smoking itself, as I was saying, it's a physical alteration of the human psyche. Physical and psychological. Once you have that, they say you're more likely to smoke marijuana after that, and more likely to drink also. So the youth are drinking there, and believe me, the youth are drinking. They're drinking, they have drinking problems. That's why the brothers who are older and giving lectures and so on and so forth, they need to take their head out of the sand, stop fighting with each other, and look at the real issues. Our sisters are downtown. So what if she sat in a masjid? So what? You know, so what? Bring them, give them da'wah, and try to get the best situation going. Get best situation. Otherwise, we're not going to do anything. What are we going to do? You and I, what are we going to do? Sit here and listen, and that's it at the end. But we need to change, we need to take decisions that actually alter our psyche and actually makes our Islamic personality a better one. We're not doing anything that makes it better. We do everything that kills the heart, as I stated before. So the heart keeps dying. So marijuana comes into play. And what's marijuana? It's cool. Do I have what, 3 minutes? Okay. Okay, 5 minutes, mashallah, a lot more time. So the problem of cigarettes there, and you know, I can go on, there's alcohol, drinking, I have really not touched my topic yet. But I will, in 5 minutes, what I will tell you is that if you love Islam, show me. Show Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you really love the deen, show Allah ta'ala that you love the deen. خُذْ مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ صَدَقَةً تُطَاهِرْهُمْ وَتُزَكِّيهِمْ بِهَا. That this hadith, they use it for fiqh. But actually, if you really look at it, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, خُذْ, meaning take from them sadaqah. Take from them charity. To clean them and to increase them. تُزَكِّيهِمْ بِهَا. Zakah itself means integrity. Za and ka means integrity. But if you put a ta marbuta, it also means poor.